In today's episode, we are talking about being compensated in a relationship for carrying and having a baby. Now, I know this sounds wild, but we're going to get into this really juicy Reddit thread that I found, and I had to bring it to Brandon to get his perspective. So, we're going to go deep into this rabbit hole of being compensated by your partner for carrying and having the family baby. Stay tuned. It's going to be juicy.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo. Learn how to make them pockets grow. Financial freedom's where we go. Smart investments, money flow.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sugar Daddy Podcast. Thank you for being with us every Wednesday. If you are new here, welcome. We're so glad to have you, and we'll hope you'll stick around. And if you're an OG, welcome back. We are excited to see you again. This is the podcast that helps you build a financial plan so you can finally feel confident and in control of your money. And we are so glad you're here listening today. We've got something juicy that I came across on a Reddit thread because if you don't know, I love Reddit. I love going down a Reddit thread. Ooh, they are so good. It's like my reality TV, okay? And I found this one and I could not pass it up. And Brandon read through it and he's got a lot to say, y'all. So we're going to get right into it. Hey, babe. We're going to get right into it, and I'm going to read you this thread. Now, it is a little bit lengthy, but it's got a bunch of details, and I want you to just process them all because, ooh, there's a lot. Okay, let's just get into it. I'm excited.
Yes, let's go ahead.
All right, so the subject line is, I am male, 34, and my wife is female, 29. She has asked me to pay her almost $50,000 to have our child, and I am not quite sure what to do. All right, let's get into it. I have been dating my wife for 6 years, and we have been spiritually married, make a little asterisk there, for 2 years. We are not legally married, although at this point we are essentially common law. People love to throw that around.
I know.
We are both high earners, both earning over $175,000 a year after tax. We purchased our home together and have agreed to split the finances 50-50. We paid for our wedding, honeymoon, everything 50-50, although I did pay for the cost of our rings and her engagement ring. Our mortgage payments were 50-50, and we comfortably own our home now. So much of our income goes to savings, investments, home improvements, and discretionary spending. Because of our incomes, we felt it would be best to keep our finances separate. We're both highly independent people and both very career-driven. It's part of the reason I'm so attracted to her. She's amazing at what she does, and I'm so proud to be able to introduce her as my wife and explain what she does. Unfortunately, our first 2 years of marriage were hampered by COVID and lockdowns. We would have loved to have traveled and saved up quite a bit in order to do this. A couple of months ago, we had talked and decided it might be a good time to have kids instead of continuously waiting for better and safer travel conditions. Without too serious discussion, we decided to stop using birth control and let things happen as they will. Yesterday, I came home and my wife was on the phone. She seemed like she was in a hurry to end her conversation and tried to evade my question when I asked who she was talking to. It was her sister. They don't talk a lot, so that was a bit weird. She still works from home, so she continued to do some work, and then we had dinner and watched some news. Regular, pleasant evening. Then she said she wants to have a serious talk and asked me to make us some tea and meet me upstairs at her work desk. I make the tea, bring it up, and she starts talking financials. Her workplace allows for maternity leave for up to a year, but only provides 50% of her salary for up to 6 months. The remaining 6 months is unpaid. She was very direct and said that while her insurance would cover the vast majority of hospital-related costs during pregnancy and childbirth, taking a 6-month break from work would cost her almost $50,000 since her pay would be cut in half. She's asking me to compensate her for that $50,000 in addition to agreeing to split any related but unexpected costs to pregnancy and childbirth. Her stance is that she is doing something for us to start a family, but it is not a true 50-50 split if she is expected to take a financial hit for it, and I am not, given that our finances are separate. She had a printed list of expectations in terms of what she expected financially, listed some things that her insurance may or may not cover. I see the logic in that, but I am really turned off by this because she is essentially asking me to pay her to have our child or children. She saw my hesitation and just doubled down. While her ideal is to return to work after 6 months, she says it's a real possibility that she may require more time off and decide, as things happen, to take up to a year off. So she had another plan drafted for that. For the first 6 months, her work will give her 50% off her salary, and I would compensate her for the rest. But for the next 6 months, since her work would not compensate her, and because this loss is something she is doing for the family, she is comfortable splitting the loss of her income and only asking me for 50% of her salary instead of 100% for the second 6 months. And she will take the loss of the 50% of her salary. The idea, I guess, is that both of us, quote unquote, suffer half the loss of income for the second 6 month period. However, if she takes 7 to 11 months off, any months after the sixth can be prorated. She went deep. She's talking proration. Okay. She expressed that she anticipates and hopes to return to work in 6 months, but that she wants a contingency plan in the event that she requires a year off. She said that taking more than a year off is something she is very unlikely to do as it would put her job at risk, but that she's open to exploring a third plan with me if that's necessary. There are also detailed notes about how she wants to keep housework split, the plans to start saving for both children and additional housekeeper expenses for at least the first 4 years. I kid you not, it's a 16-page ring binder that she handed me with detailed notes, some explanations, and a list of expenses. But the immediate and essential element here is that she wants me to pay her $50,000 to $100,000 to compensate for the loss of her salary for 6 to 12 months as a result of having our child. Whew, okay, I know that was a lot, y'all, but this woman had a binder. She was ready. She probably had a pivot table or two. Like, I feel like I want to meet her because I love it. I love it.
So, like, my first initial feeling was based off of the title.
Married.
Yes, marriage. He said in the title, he refers to her as his wife.
Yes.
Which the initial thing from reading the title gave me kind of an ick.
Mm-hmm.
But then upon reading it and finding out, hey, she's not his wife legally.
Yeah, they had the engagement ring, they had the wedding, they had the things, but they are only spiritually married. Yeah. That's not a thing, y'all. Like, it can be, like, you can make your own rules.
It's not a legal contract.
Adults, but it is not a legally binding contract. You guys are roommates. You're committed roommates.
Marriage, I'm only going to speak to the United States. Marriage in the United States is a legal contract. So once I found out that it wasn't actually his wife legally, then my stance completely changed.
Okay, so it's good that you brought that up. So talk about why you got the ick when you thought that they were legally married.
So first and foremost, I think one thing, like, upon like reading a bit more, was like, why did they decide, if they have a similar income, why did they decide to keep their finances separate? I want to know that.
Okay. Well, he says because they're both highly independent.
You could be independent.
I'm highly independent.
Yes, exactly. I would say that we are both very independent people, but we still have some aspects of our finances together. So for me, it's kind of like, I understand, keeping certain aspects of your finance, to yourself. For example, like, we have a joint bank account, but then we also have our individual. That's perfectly fine. But it's very interesting to me that you intertwined every other aspect of your life except your money.
Well, it sounds like they're doing everything 50-50 because their salaries are so equal.
But their life is interterned in the sense of they have a mortgage together. They live in the same house.
And apparently a paid-off house now.
They want to have kids. You're intertwining your life.
Yeah, so, I wonder why not just actually make it legal.
But I'm not even worried about the legal part. It's more or less how you're thinking about your finances. Because even if you're splitting everything 50-50, you are a couple. You are together. You are moving forward as a couple together. Why not use some aspects? Why not view your money as together?
As a team.
As a team. Because one, if you were viewing each other's money, if you were viewing from the get-go our money as a team, some aspects of this, if they had been married, wouldn't even need to be done.
Right.
Yes, because, like, for example, like you and I, we view our money as together. So if one of us stopped working for a period of time, whatever it may be, stay-at-home parent, whatever, then we would still understand that
the other person compensates.
Yes, the money is ours.
Yes.
Where, like, that's a thing that I would want to find out more about as far as like why they view it that way.
I wonder if I can find the Reddit thread and reach out and be like, "Can you come on our podcast?"
So that's first and foremost. But then like just the, like I said, the part where I changed my mind once I found out it wasn't his wife, I was like, honestly, this makes sense.
And it's kind of genius.
It honestly makes a lot of sense because
Yes, because we sacrifice
yeah.
so much.
So if they're not legally married, some of the things that she could be entitled to, if they were to separate, she's not entitled to. So for example, like, whether, whatever
She
type
has no
of,
protection.
yeah, if you have a prenup written or you have the prenup of your state, more than likely some aspects, you have some protection there. So, she'd be, maybe entitled to some alimony, whatever it may
Spousal
be.
support,
Yeah, stuff of
something.
that nature. Whereas right now, she is taking a risk in the sense of exiting the workforce for a certain period of time, with some compensation for the 6 months, but then after that, not the same compensation that she would have before, but then also the possibility of, the security of her job not being there. Now, also even too, let's just say she does take the 1 year off. That's also 1 year of you not being actively in the workforce and actively being able to move upward. So you're
Right.
already, delaying some of the potential growth you could have down the line if you do go back to work.
Yeah, and the motherhood tax is already
Yes.
real.
Yes.
So she came with her 16-page binder and all the things, which sounds crazy, and some people might be like, "Ooh, that's cringe." To me, it sounds very prepared and actually very thoughtful. She sounds like she looked through her full benefits package. She knows exactly what's going to be covered and what's not going to be covered. And the reality is you don't know what's going to happen during your pregnancy.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are so many having a healthy child and good delivery is the rarity.
Yes.
So you are, as a woman, putting yourself into an immense amount of risk and damage and also emotional mayhem,
Yeah.
all the things, right? And that's just the 9 months of being pregnant. That's not whatever your delivery is. Do you have to have an emergency C-section? I mean, I have friends that have almost bled to death, had to have multiple blood transfusions during their deliveries. I mean, like, it gets crazy. It gets
Yeah.
wild out there. So she is not wrong for wanting some sort of protection in place because guess what? While he's thriving at work for the 9 months that she's pregnant, she's going to be miserable. She's going to be sleep deprived. She's going to have heartburn out the wazoo, whatever, right? Like I'm kind of naming all the terrible things that happen to us. But then on top of that, you will have a recovery period, even if your delivery goes amazing. And then I'm glad that she put that in there. You really don't know how you're going to feel after you have your child. And even for myself as a career driven woman, I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to want to go back to work. And like, what does that look like? And how long can we afford that? And to then your point, then you have a gap on your resume. So there is a lot of unknown and there's a lot of risk. They're not legally married. She doesn't have legal protections because the reality is you can call it common law and spiritual and whatever. Boo
Yeah.
boo, you guys are roommates. Like that's what you are. You are in a partnership. You are in a loving, committed partnership, but you are roommates.
Also, the thing is too, is that they currently have all their finances separate. So you're splitting everything 50-50. So if she's not bringing in the same income,
Why would she be splitting
she
50-50?
couldn't do the 50-50 anymore.
Right.
So like I said, like it's the, higher level conversation of why are our finances completely separate? That's,
Well,
interesting
they
to me.
probably think that there's a protection around that
I mean, there's,
because they're not legally
yeah, I
married.
mean, as
Sounds
long
like
as,
they bought their house and then paid it off. So I wonder what kind of paperwork is there. Is the mortgage split? I mean, obviously, we would need to do a little bit more investigating into these things, but it sounds, I mean, we were even under the impression for a long time if we have separate bank accounts, like everything's separate. But that's just not the case once you're legally married.
yes. Well, like I said, the thing is here is that I do like certain aspects of this because now she's a planner.
Clearly. Oh,
Clearly a
she is type
planner.
A. Yes.
But now they're actually
And
having
I
a
wonder what she
conversation.
does for work.
Honestly, no, but now they're having a conversation that needs to be had.
Yes.
Whether or not how they got to it, you might like it, you might not like it, but they're actually having the conversation that majority of people should have. Hey, if we're two working spouses or two partners, whatever it may be, and we're going to have a baby, and one of them, I'm going to be out of the workforce for a certain period of time. How are we going to cover bills and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the conversation.
That's the conversation, really, what
Right.
it is.
And here's what's going to happen to my career.
Yeah. So it's a conversation like, oh, and what if I decide I don't want to go back at 6 months or at a year? I want to have a little bit more time. They're really having the conversation that majority of people should have. And in all honesty, she is doing what a lot of women out there should be doing if you're not married and having a child with somebody.
Which is planning for the what ifs and the unknowns.
Yeah, because the thing is that regardless of like, going into marriage and, people have this idea of like, oh, marriage is all about this loving thing and everything like that. Yes, it's part of it. But then also,
It's
you have
contractual.
yes, it is contractual. I am married to you contingent upon you doing the things that, you should be doing in this marriage.
Mhm.
And we already know that, roughly around 50% of marriages end in divorce. So if you don't have protections in place, it is shown that women are on the short end of the stick when that happens often. So
Absolutely.
you can have this idyllic, idea of what your marriage is going to be, whatever. But the reality is that you also should potentially, not potentially, you really should plan for what if something bad happens? And this
Yeah.
is what she's doing.
Well, and I also think, just and I this is not in the Reddit thread. This is just me kind of taking it a step further. They're both high earners,
Hmm.
which I wouldn't say is uncommon, but I mean for both of them to be making almost $200,000 a year after tax, like that is a very large income. They probably, again, I'm assuming here, they probably have stocks, equity, high 401k matches,
Yeah,
right? All of those
there's a lot of
things.
other benefits.
Yes, and a lot of times when you go out on maternity
Don't
leave,
stop.
those are going to stop, right? You're technically on FMLA so that your job is protected, but you can't contribute to your 401k anymore. So she might be missing out on those benefits. Taking it even a step further, again, you're both high earners, you're both in corporate. Who's going to be with the baby when the baby gets sick? Who's going to not be at work? Who's going to be called out to completely abandon their full day of work and then have to work through the night to make up for, the lost work, etc. Those are things that very naturally occurred in our relationship because you work for yourself,
Hmm.
whereas I'm in meetings all day. So, yeah, you're going to have to be the one that changes your, maybe one or two meetings versus me changing 10, right? But like that's another step because if he's assuming, oh, well, she's not willing to make the sacrifice for our family and this is ridiculous that she's asking me to pay her, what else is going to be ridiculous? Is it going to be ridiculous for her to ask him to take the baby to the doctor when it inevitably gets sick? They're both working. Let's assume that the baby's going to have to go to daycare. Like, I mean, there's so many things. And to your point, these are really the conversations that people should be having
Yeah.
prior to having children, whether you're married or not. But honestly, she sounds like she came correct and she came prepared. Maybe the way she approached the conversation wasn't as,
I mean, she
you
sounds like
know,
type A, which,
let's just, yeah, rip the band aid off and get to it. And here's my
but she's
16
obviously
page
thought
binder.
through this.
Yeah. She's
And,
been thinking.
so like I said, it is a great I think it's a great way to I think it's a great idea and also a great conversation starter to have all those deep conversations that majority of people don't have.
Hmm.
And like I said, like I mean, I can only imagine. I didn't read the Reddit, comments under that. I can imagine you have a bunch of,
Bros.
yeah, like mm, probably voted for Trump and listened to like,
Dave Ramsey.
not even no, I wasn't going to say Dave Ramsey. I was going to say like listen to like Joe Rogan podcast and what's that other guy? Tate.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those type of guys were like, "Oh, you shouldn't give into those." No, like this is a very thought out, and it makes. I mean, to me, as someone who's thinking logically, it makes sense.
yeah. Well,
And
and to somebody who talks to lots of couples and has lots of couples as clients that have children or are in the process of growing their families, these are important
yeah,
conversations. Your income is going to be limited. What is that going to look like? What is that going to do? What does that mean for your career? I mean, hello, it's a natural conversation,
and also
and
too,
you
like,
shouldn't be threatened by it.
you say like if she changes her mind and decides to be a stay at home mom for a certain period of time, talking through all that stuff and making sure that she has protections in place because once again, they aren't married.
Well, and I love how in one paragraph he was like, "That's what I love about her, right? She's so independent and she's so career driven." But then when she shows you how independent and career driven she is and how thoughtful she is in her planning, now you're getting the ick and you're turned off. I need you to pick a lane.
I mean,
Did you catch that though?
no, I 100% caught that. Um,
Like, I love it when I
I
can show her
almost
off to my
well,
friends.
I almost wonder if, like, before he put it on Reddit,
Mm,
he talked to other people in his life and they influenced an opinion.
maybe. I mean, the Reddit
Because
thread
like I
was
said,
very thorough, so maybe that was the first time he was like, "I need to just get this
I don't know,
down."
because as someone who is obviously married to an independent woman and, grew up with nothing but independent women in my life, I know what comes with an independent woman and I embrace all aspects of it. And it's not for every man, like, because some of y'all just can't handle it. And that's just the reality. But
We can be a lot.
you know who you should know who your person is, especially about to have a baby with them. So
You
like
should
this shouldn't
know
have
who
been
you chose.
like, maybe like you might have been like, oh, like I hadn't thought about all this, but like to be shocked that it came from that person.
Right.
Like you've never done anything where I'm like, oh my God, like what?
And the times where you're like, you like look at me and you roll your eyes because you're annoyed, what's my response? You know who you married.
Exactly.
Like literally, I'm like, you know who you married. This
Yeah. So it's not even a matter of
this is
shock.
not
You
new.
can be annoyed, but not shocked.
Right. Yes, you can be annoyed, but don't act surprised because you know who you married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, I think she is taking the right steps to protect what she needs to protect.
Yeah.
How he feels about it, they can have a conversation in regards to the feelings behind it and also maybe how they proceed forward with it. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what also would be, helpful in some aspects is that you maybe get married, have a more deeper conversation about how you should combine certain aspects of your finances.
Do a
And
prenup.
also, that was going to be the next one.
You can do a
Do a
prenup because
prenup.
you're
I should
not
have said do
married
a
yet.
prenup before you get married.
Yes,
Do a
yes.
prenup.
Do a prenup in your marriage, your legal marriage,
Yeah.
not spiritual marriage process.
Because the thing is, they're doing so many things right financially.
Yeah, it sounds like
And I
it.
would hate to see that, like, this is what deters it. Like,
Right.
this is, I mean, like I said, from her standpoint, I agree with her. I actually do. I agree with her.
Yeah. So we would love to hear your thoughts on this. So definitely chime in, slide in our DMs, post a comment. But also, if you have done a contract like this and you got paid for having a baby and you weren't married, but you put like a contract in place to compensate, we definitely want to hear from you.
And also to just kind of put out there, like, I don't poo-poo on those people who just look at marriage from a religious standpoint, where like, what's mine is yours. The Bible says A, B, and C, this and this and that, whatever it may be. But you can have that idea.
That's not going to hold up in court.
Sure is not. That's what I'm saying. Like you can have that idea, and hopefully that's the basis of your marriage with your spouse. Why don't you also just put it on paper too, to
Right.
make sure that that the paper matches what you're reading in the Bible.
Right. Well, because also, we did our post snup, so you can go back into the archives and check those episodes. But we very much operate as in it's one pot,
Yes.
But if we were to dissolve our marriage, then he has a pot and I have a pot.
Yeah.
So right now we're
And
happily married
and we're happy with the pot that we would have.
because we created the rules for the pot
Yes.
or the pots, his and hers. But right now it's just one pot. So you can create the rules.
Yes.
Like you don't have to like struggle to be like, well, what are we gonna? No, like you can literally write your own rules. That's what a prenup and a post nup
Yeah.
are for.
So
is
it
to
can
write your own rules.
So the rules of it can reflect your morals and values or religious beliefs as well.
Exactly, and it gives you that sense of peace and protection. It's giving you the protection that you're wanting, that you hopefully don't need, just like any other insurance product. We called it our love insurance. But just like any other insurance product, you hope to not use your car insurance because that means you probably got in an accident or your windshield cracked or something happened.
Yeah, because in my mind, like it's the same idea as like we have health insurance, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna have health insurance because Jesus got me. Like
But some people walk around like that.
that's not what
They're
I'm.
like, if it's God's will, and I'm like, okay.
God gave you access to insurance.
Right. I mean, you could spin it, right? You could spin it. But they would be perfect to get legally married,
Get the prenup.
get the
then
prenup, then get legally married, and then she could have the peace of mind and she doesn't have to show up with a 16-page binder of.
She sounds like she would love the prenup process.
Oh, she probably. I think they both would, honestly.
They would love going through the process.
They probably would really love it.
Yes.
Because, I'm also thinking like, okay, they paid off their mortgage. Were they both on the mortgage? Are they both on the deed? Is there a contract in place for like a housing agreement? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I have questions.
Yeah.
I need to find these people because I have questions. And I want to see what's in the 16-page document. And I want to see if there was pivot tables. I need to see. I need to know. Okay. This was too juicy to not share with you guys. Please weigh in. We want to hear, are you on her side? Are you on his side? Does it change because they're not legally married? Like
Are you somewhere in the
give
middle?
us all of your thoughts. And if you are a person that is in a partnership, not legally married, and you paid your spouse or your partner to have a child because of this kind of protection issue, we want to hear from you.
Sugar Daddy Podcast, yo.